I listened to music when I was very young, and the difference between me is that when I was around 11 or 12 years old, I was already playing quite a bit of guitar. I knew after hearing Jimi Hendrix that this was for me, and Jimi Hendrix set the bar for all guitarists ever since, and all guitarists, and I'm one of them, have been trying to get to that height, and I'm still working on it. But you know, obviously there are a lot of other musicians and a lot of other guitarists and styles of music, but really that was the turning point for me, is when I was quite young. And then I studied music, I studied classical guitar, I studied jazz, I studied rock, and you know, I'm still studying. So really it's just a never-ending journey. I went to Berklee College of Music when I was 16 years old. I went there for a few months, and it was like a summer course, and that really changed everything, because I realized, before I went there, I thought I was quite serious about what I was doing, and I got there and I realized that I was back at square one, because there were many people much more serious than me. So I thought, wow, that's amazing. It's the American approach to musicianship is much more studious, and they have a very, very more academic approach to it. And I thought, if I mix that with the English feel approach, then I think that's a good combination, and I've stuck with it ever since. Well, the first time I worked with Phil Collins, it was a groundbreaking experience for me, because it was the first big break that I had, really. So I learned what it was to play something simple on a record. I remember coming up with the riff for Another Day in Paradise. I was just kind of warming up, and he said, "That's it." And I thought, really? Are you sure? I can do a lot better than that, something more interesting. But he said, no, that's what he thought worked for the song. And then I thought, that's the secret. Just do what's right for the song. And it was really simple. And so I learned a lot out of that experience about playing simple and what really works for the song. With Sting, it was an altogether different experience. My first concert with him was in a football stadium in front of 85,000 people. And I remember feeling very nervous before I went on stage, thinking, oh God, I don't think I can do this. Because I was used to playing in clubs or rock clubs or small theaters. And the thing that really grabbed me was that walking out in front of 85,000 people, suddenly all the nerves went away, because it really wasn't about me. It was about the event. And so that's the thing about playing in large concerts, is that it doesn't become about you anymore. It becomes about the event. And that was really fun to experience that, and a really groundbreaking experience as well. This is the first album that I've written while I've been on the road, because I was on the road with Sting throughout 2009 and 10 and 11 and I mean, we're always on the road. And I wanted to document a new album, and the only way I could do it was to write it on the road, which I've never done before. So I got to writing some tunes in hotel rooms, and then I just managed to find time in my schedule to do 2 days in Los Angeles with Vinnie Colaiuta and Jimmy Johnson on bass, was the best rhythm section imaginable. And then, so I did 2 days there and laid down the rhythm tracks. Then I went to Cologne, to Marweg Studios, and did some overdubs with my band who are here with me tonight, so I could get the atmosphere of my group and my players. So I did 2 days there, and then I did 3 days in France, just finishing the guitars, and then I mixed it in London. So it was all pretty quick and it's quite fast, and I like it that way, because that's how records that I like from the 70s and 80s were made, pretty quickly. No, there's no message in my music, because I write instrumental music, and really what I like to do is for the listener to create their own stories around my soundscapes. And that's what I love about instrumental music, like classical music does that for me. That's what it does for me. So I'm just trying to do what they do, not stylistically, but to create imagery with music. So for me, composition, I don't use music for inspiration. It's mostly kind of other stuff like living and art, literature, food. I do listen to music a lot, to listen to theory and the way music is constructed. I'm fascinated with construction and form, particularly with classical music. But really, my influences are like everyone's influences, but my job and my craft is just to translate those influences to music. I couldn't imagine living without music. I'm not obsessed with music. I've got a life. I've got 6 kids. And, you know, I mean, I think that you've got to be careful not to be too into it, because then you might lose where the source of inspiration comes from. So really, I like to have a 50-50 balance of life and music. So, but I couldn't live without music, and I couldn't live without life. You know, without my friends and my family, and I couldn't just do music. That would be boring.